Hello again and welcome to From the Deep. I am Book the Brett. I'm Book the Brett. I am Book of Brett, and today we are going to be reviewing Abandon, a movie that finally answers the question, what happens when the characters in the movie aren't the only ones who have no idea what's going on? Abandon is a 2022 horror movie that is about a couple where the mom or wife is dealing with postpartum depression and they move into a farmhouse in the country, and then shit starts to get weird in a multitude of ways, really. Let's jump over to IMDb and check their synopsis first, and then we're going to get into this film.
I can't stand it anymore. I gotta get out of here.
And IMDb says, after a young couple moves into a remote farmhouse with their infant son, the woman's struggles with postpartum psychosis begin to intensify as the house reveals secrets of its own. And oh boy, does it ever.
Oh, right. I can't stop being sarcastic now.
This is a movie that it touts itself as a psychological horror. It definitely feels like it's trying to be a horror movie, but almost nothing in this movie is scary, and this could very easily be the most boring ass horror movie I've seen in a very long time. And it is not just because of the pacing, which, to be clear, is atrocious.
You're not even trying anymore, are you?
The crazy thing about this movie is we actually have a good cast here. We have Emma Roberts, who was in American Horror Story. We have John Gallagher Jr. His filmography includes The West Wing, Law & Order SVU, NYPD Blue. He was also in 10 Cloverfield Lane. He was in Hush. He's got credits. We have Michael fucking Shannon in here, who I love. If you've not seen The Iceman, he's amazing in The Iceman. He's phenomenal in that movie. And then we've also got Paul Schneider in here. I haven't seen a lot with Paul Schneider, but he is definitely a recognizable face. We have a solid cast in this movie, but the screenplay is just awful. First of all, it calls for what I'm going to go out on a limb and say is about 55 minutes of a baby crying. Now, I get this is about postpartum depression, but you can drive that notion home without having the baby cry. It's almost every scene the baby is crying in this fucking movie, and it was driving me out of my mind. Now, to be fair, my daughter had colic whenever she was born, so that could be maybe triggering some things there, but it is a vast majority of the soundtrack in this movie is a baby crying.
You're a terrible father.
On top of that, we have a group of characters here that act like no one fucking does. Emma Roberts' character in this movie is truly insufferable. I get she's got postpartum depression. I get she's dealing with psychosis, but at no point, there are little points here and there where she'll kind of hint at, I don't feel alone in this house, yada yada yada, which then points to John Gallagher's character as just clearly not giving a shit in the way I feel like a caring husband would do. And he's supposed to be a caring husband. That's why they moved out here. That's why he's doing everything that he's doing. He's supposed to be a caring husband, but he's a fucking moron. But she doesn't do herself any favors at all.
You're being mean. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm going to give spoilers away at some point, but she's supposedly dealing with a haunted house. And we're supposed to spend the whole time going, is it her psychosis? Is it a haunted house? It's a haunted fucking house. At no point do you get the vibe that this is her just, having psychotic episodes. At least it didn't to me. And I think they were trying to do that, but it's just done so much like a haunted house. And when I say so much, I mean in the most boring, run-of-the-mill, seen it a million times type of way. Nothing in this movie is new, exciting, inventive, creative, or groundbreaking by any means. The environment is everything you'd expect to find in a movie like this. So much so that it almost doesn't feel realistic at a certain point. They're living in this farmhouse. They don't have a cell phone. They don't have a TV. They don't have no cameras. No electronics whatsoever. And I get that maybe they're one of these people that's like, going minimalist, try not to have all that shit. Fine. Something made in the last 50 fucking years would be in this house. Nothing fucking is. It just adds to the vibe of nothing in this feels right. And I don't mean it makes you uncomfortable, it's creepy and it adds to the horror. No, nothing feels like it makes any fucking sense at all. And the entire time, I was just gritting my teeth and just trying to get through this movie, which is really unfortunate because you've got a topic here that's actually really interesting. It's supposed to be about postpartum psychosis. The doors that opens for possibilities is huge. You've got so many options with something like this, but instead they just go with this run-of-the-mill, formulaic ass formula, scheme, whatever you want to call it, and they just kind of go through the motions that way. Couple moves into a new house, something terrible happened, it's haunted, the wife is being terrorized. Well, it's basically The Conjuring with postpartum depression and an ending that feels like a fucking slap in the face. Nothing in this movie feels like it had any heart put into it. The director's idea of building suspense is basically to let things draw out. For the first 30 to 40 minutes of this movie, nothing fucking happens. We get the opening scene of the terrible thing that happened that's supposed to be making this place haunted, and then from then on out it's basically one or two jump scares, but nothing exciting really ever happens, and there's so many opportunities. Everything from then on out plays exactly the way you expect it to play out. Nothing interesting is going on. Nothing fun happens. Not that nothing fun happens, but the ideas of horror, the ideas of frights that were given, for example, is a pile of shit-laden diapers under the couch, and she finds it, and it's supposed to be this big terrifying moment. She goes in, she drinks the milk, and it's got maggots in it, and so she pours it out. And these are all things that happen way later in the movie, when the frights are supposed to have escalated far beyond those at this point. These are the types of things that happen when the ghosts are supposed to be fucking with you. Gotcha, bitch! But again, the biggest problem with this movie is that these characters are written so poorly, so unrealistically, and like non-people. These are characters that are non-people. From the very, very beginning of buying the fucking house, they're finding so many things in this house that are not hidden that they didn't know about when they bought the house. Watching these characters bumble their fucking way through this story is something that I can never get back. I will never get it back. And it's an hour and 40 fucking minutes. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It's too long. This movie, with the way it is, with the way it's constructed and the way it was put out there, could easily have been edited down to under an hour. And that's the only way I really see you getting the pacing on this piece of shit to really feel more cohesive. But it still does not fix the fucking elements of this that are just so atrocious and make it fall apart from the very beginning. And the biggest part of all of that is the ending. Are you ready?
Well, we're waiting.
What we get here is some weird amalgamation of endings from The Others, The Boy, anything else where you find out that all along the ghosts were people. Or were they? I don't know, because basically what happens is at the very end, we find out at one point in the movie, Michael Shannon and Emma Roberts are having a conversation about how there were 2 other kids, and those 2 other kids also survived, but nobody ever heard about them. And she says they never heard about them because they're still in the house. Now that's a very ambiguous statement that could be easily taken as they're ghosts and they're still here, or they're still physically here in the house. Now I'm going to go with they're still physically here in the house, and because of one very specific detail. When she finds where they're at, there's a hole in the wall. Now, it could be because that's where they were being kept. I think they're still having to go in and out of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm totally open to examples on why that might be incorrect. And if they are, I'm totally open to that discussion. Leave it down in the comments. But if we go off of, which I'm choosing to do for comedic value alone, if we choose to go off of the theory that these kids are still in the house, why the fuck are they still children?
I won't grow up. I won't grow up.
Michael Shannon's a grown man. Why are they still children? And this is why I'm like, well, they could still be kids, and we're just supposed to accept this gigantic, glaring plot hole, or they're ghosts somehow holding a baby, stealing stuff that they don't need. Like they steal stuff like a magpie fucking would. But the ending isn't just bad because of that. The ending is bad because it ends because she interacted with them. Because the whole thing, it's her basically not even pleading. She's asking nicely to have her child given back to her. Like, somebody stole her ice cream cone as a 10-year-old, and now she wants it back before they dump it on the hot pavement. After that, one of the kids takes a hatchet and assaults her with it. I don't know, because we see one hack, we hear her scream, and then it cuts away to everything being happy-go-lucky. Like, everything's fixed. And her husband comes home from work. She looks at him and goes, "It's over." He doesn't know what's over. You haven't told him anything. As far as he knows, you just self-diagnosed yourself as cured. That, to me, would be a giant red flag. And now, guess what? I'm taking the baby and I'm getting the fuck out of the house. Here are the divorce papers. The ending to this doesn't make any fucking sense, including the part where we get the very last shot of her being pregnant. First of all, why is it over? Where did the kids go? Where did the kids go? Did they disappear because they're ghosts? Why? You didn't overcome an obstacle. You didn't give them any resolution, so there's no reason for them to be gone. And if they're real kids, why is it over then too? Because did you kill them? Did you get rid of them? I didn't see a scene where the cops came and took these 60-year-old children. Maybe they've got Benjamin Button syndrome. Maybe that would be it. Either way, there's nothing to signify closure at the end of this movie. Nothing except her saying it's over. That's how we know it's over.
He's an angry elf.
So I'm going to say, if you want to watch a terrible movie that is a masterclass in everything not to do off screen, everything logistically, everything that holds a movie up that you don't see on screen, this movie is a masterclass on what not to fucking do, which is a real shame because we've got a stellar cast here. We've got an idea and a plot that could have been awesome, and it really, really just isn't. 3 out of 10, do not recommend. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up. Leave comments down in the comments section. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if I missed something, because I may have misinterpreted it. And if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, we're trying to get better about putting more of it out. Life's happening, but we're trying to get more focused on this. Spread the word to your friends. Spread the show, please. The more we grow, the more we can start putting more of our time, energy, and lives into this. And that all happens with the subscription button. But until next time, I will see you guys later.